Alright, so welcome back. In this session, we're going to be talking about conditional statements. So let's go ahead and create a new file. So we right click, add new item. So I'm going to be creating this as a class. So I have this as a class. So let me have it as conditional statement. Conditional. All right, so if we have that, and then now here the various conditional statements that we have here, if you have used them anywhere, any in other programming language before, it stays pretty the same. So let's say we have number one is if statements, and the second one is if else statements, and then the third one is else if statements, and the fourth one is the switch statement. All right, so to start an example, I'm going to yeah, so you can see that we have this as a class, and let's just declare a variable within here, just to keep things a bit clean. All right, so yeah, so let's say we have a feed elements. Let's say public int wage, and then we're saying that this wage is $10,000 per month. All right, so here in my program class, so that's where I want to access it. All right, so let's instantiate that class, conditional statements. So we have this to be conditional statements, which is equals to new conditional statement. So we have it like this. Then so we can have conditional statements all right, so we want to use if statements to check the value of that, and see we're going to do something if that value is something. All right, so the basic syntax for if statement is this. The syntax for if statement is this, pretty straightforward. So you have something like this. I just want to have it like that. So we have, let's say we have if statements. So we have if you set a condition, so the condition to be tested will be here. So if this condition is met, this will happen. Action. So there's a condition to be tested. So if this condition is true, this would execute. Otherwise, nothing will happen. We are not putting alternative to this. This is if statement. All right, so let's see the example here. You know that we set the value here. We set the value of the wage to be 10,000. So here what I want to do is to say that if the value that we set, which is this dot wage, so this is the condition now. So if this is greater than 5,000, which I know is greater than 5,000, so I will just say console dot write line. So console dot write line, does I say your pay of dot wage is pretty inspiring. So this is just a basic example, nothing serious. So this dollar here, I want to use it to specify the actual dollar sign. This one is here to use this string literal. Of course, you know that by now. So if we run this now, we're going to see that we see a result like this. So we saw that your pay of $10,000 is pretty inspiring. Okay, so now let's say that I said if this is greater than 10,000, the amount that we have is 10,000. We know that. So if it's greater than 10,000, and we're saying that this should happen, and we're not stating otherwise, we're not stating alternative. So we do this, you're going to see that it runs pretty well, but then there's no answer, there's no result, because we are not saying that if this is not met, then what should happen. We are not putting alternative, so it's just simply going to obey this. So if it's not met, nothing will happen. And this is why the else statement comes in. This is where the X statement comes in, if else statement. So the if else statement handles otherwise. So if this is not met, otherwise do something else. So here, let's say, and I'll say else statements. I had else statement here. All right, so if it is not met, I'm going to have another one here. So I can say console dot write line, and then here we can have it as keep working hard. Just a basic example. So this is what we're going to get if this condition is not met. Okay, so if we run that, so you can see that it's now echoing keep working hard instead of just keeping mute. So we have it like that. So that's if else statement. So there's a shorthand for these if else statements that we call ternary operator. Ternary operator is pretty, a short form of if else statement, and it's pretty handy. So let's see how that works. So this is ternary operator. So here, let's say you have a variable. So let me have that as a comment, so it stops storing an error. So this is the syntax for ternary operator. You have variable equals to, then there's a condition you are testing, pretty much like your if statement as well. So you are testing a condition, then if that condition is true, if the condition is true, so expression if true, then you put a column expression if false. So you can have a one liner instead of having multiple line 1 2 3 4 and like that. So you can just have a one liner that will do pretty much similar to what this is doing. So let's say now I want to use this one to handle the same thing. So I could come in here and say that example, I can have string right on string message is equals to, then the condition I'm testing is this. So I say string message. So this testing, I said like this. So here I come in here, I said if this condition is met, then say this, say something like this. Okay, that's the message. Otherwise the message is keep working at it. One day you'll get there. So you have it like this, and I have it terminated, of course. All right, so this is going to work pretty much like this. The only thing I need to do would be to just say that we are console or write line this message here, all right. So if I, for instance, if I comment out this, so it's not executed, so I'm using this one, so we'll see pretty much um, the same result. So if you run it, then you can see that we're seeing keep working at it. This is just a basic example for it. Then you have this is a ternary operator. Declare variable, test something. If this is true, this is done. Otherwise, the second one is done, like that. Okay, so I can bring back my if statements like that. So if you run it, we are just gonna have multiple keep working at it. So we can see keep working out of the first and keep working out of the second. All right. Now the else if statement is, if this is not met, then we want to go into another block before we finally go into the else statement. So if you have multiple conditions, so let's say here I have else if, and then here I have another else if. So else if, I'm going to have to set another condition. Then let's say I have multiple, it can be just one, like this, where the next thing I'm going to declare is just the else statement. So here I want to have another test, so we have else if, then here we have else if is greater than or equals to 5,000. So I say so I'm going to make this one come here, then this one would be you're a moderate earner. You are a moderate earner. Okay, so if you have this and you save that, and if you run it now, you see that we have multiple conditions. There's one that is testing for 10,000, there's one that is testing for 5,000, and then there's one that is testing for otherwise. Okay, so if you run it now, so you can see that you're a moderate earner there. You're a moderate earner in the code block, because the condition is met, and this is what we're going to have. So it's possible that you have a lot of else if. You have another one, so another condition is being tested, which is in line, has to be in line with what we have here. So I like that. So this can be another condition. So if it's not met, it jumps in here. If it's not met, it comes to this here. If it's not met, and so on and so forth, like that. So but let's just keep it as simple like that. So by the time we start doing functional programming, things should even become a lot more clear. So this is a bit of if statements, the else statement, and else if statement. Now let's look at switch statement. Now for the switch statement, it's pretty straightforward. Let me have the syntax here. So let's say the switch statement, okay, so the syntax is like this. You have a switch. Now here you are switching an expression. Then within the block you are going to have cases. So let's say case A, then you have what should happen if that case is met. So code to be executed if that case is met. No. Code to be executed if that case is met. I just want to have it like this. Okay. Then you have another case, case B. So here you're going to have a break, so the break is to say that it should jump outside that. So if this is met, you just stop execution. There's no need to go further. Then you have case B. So you're going to have something similar. Case B, you have something like that, code to be executed, like that. Of course, you need to terminate with semicolon, so I'm just not putting it. So you can have another case, say case C, and so on and so forth, like that. So we can have this. So we have the colon, and we say code to be executed, like that. And then in the end, we'll have a default, which is pretty much like your else. So the default is what should happen if none of this condition is met. So if none of this condition is met, this is going to happen. Okay, then we can have this close up. That's the switch statement close up. This is a syntax for the switch statement, so let me close the comment. All right, so this is just a comments, I just use the comment to show the syntax, where the syntax of switch. So let's have an example. So here, let's say that we have we're switching. Example, let's say we have switch. So here, just like this too. So I'm switching these conditional statements. So let's say we have this the wage. Now, so I have case 1000. If it is 1000, I say that console dot write line the young shall grow. Then I break that. Break. Then another case 5000. Then here we say console dot write line not bad. Just a basic example, nothing so serious, so that we can get it. So we have the break, and then we have another case 10,000. So we have console dot write line So console.writeLine, here we have the, so we say pretty good, pretty good. Okay, then we break that as well. Then we can have defaults. Then we say console.writeLine, then we have out of scope, out of scope. Okay, so then I will break that as well. So pretty much you see that we have this here. So let me have this removed first. So we have this like this. So we have this case, we have this to be executed, we have this case, and then we have this to be executed. All right. So if we run this now, so we can see that it's saying that it's pretty good, because what we set was 10,000, which is pretty good. All right. So here we can see that we have the switch statements pretty handy, you know. So here what breaks us is it just stops the executions and jumps out of it. There's no need to continue. So if the condition is not met, we may want to have the default value, a default value that there's going to be executed if none of this is met, right? So if none of this is met, we're going to have a default value that would execute. So here, let's say I have a default. All right, so we have defaults, and then within the defaults, let's say we have console.writeLine, and let's say we have that to be out of scope. All right, so if we have that, and then we break that as well. So break that as well, and then everything is fine. So if it's not in the range, so let's say we go into that conditional statement, and then we're making this 20k. So if we make it 20k and we run it again, you can see that what we're getting is out of scope. So this is a bit of what a conditional statement is. We're going to be doing more of it as we move along.